Good day to you and welcome to the Web Crusade. My name is DissKnight and today we're taking a closer look at the shotguns in Valorant. In this glorious video I will show you the overall weapon stats that the shotguns have. I will show you damage per distance, armor type, body part, time to kill per distance, armor type, body part, and shots to kill per distance, armor type, and body part. Enjoy. As of now, there are two shotguns in the game, and as you will see from the testing in a minute, they are quite different, and in general shotguns are very situational. When looking at the general stats of the weapon, we can already see the distinguishing factor that shotguns have, which is pellets per shot, which means that everything depends highly on how many pellets actually hit the target. But before you lose all hope in me for the assumptions that I made, let's take a look at the mobility values first. The time till reload is the time you can shoot with the max fire rate before your magazine is empty. A potato fight with the Bucky would last the eternity of 4.5 seconds, while with the Judge it would only last 2 seconds. The weapon switch time is the time it takes to switch from the knife to the gun and shoot the first bullet, while avoiding a panic attack. Both weapons take 1 second here, which is still a long time when you compare to the time I can pull out my weapon, if you know what I mean. The reload time is the time it takes until your magazine is full again, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the animation is complete. As you can see here, I zoomed in a bit to indicate that. And since the Bucky is a pump action shotgun, it can reload individual rounds pretty fast compared to the Judge that reloads the whole magazine. The more interesting stat, however, is the time to shoot after the reload. And the Bucky here is insanely fast. I think it's the fastest we've seen so far from all of the weapons. And the Judge is pretty slow. The Crosshair recovery time is the time it takes until your Crosshair is back to the center of the screen after a shot. And here we can see that the shotguns are a bit more punishing than, for example, sidearms. And the Bucky, especially being a pump action shotgun, has a much higher value. And due to the very short per round reload time and the time to shoot after the reload, the Bucky has an insanely low average mobility of 0.678, which is again the lowest we've seen out of all weapons yet. Before we jump to the damage values, I just wanted to share my thought process with you, because for shotguns that wasn't as easy as for other guns. Because the game assigns damage values on individual pellets, I therefore had to make assumptions how many pellets would hit at close, medium and long ranges. And you can see the values here in the table. If you don't agree with anything, please let me know in the comments. If you think values are not appropriate, tell me to my face, fuckers. Now that we got that out of the way, let's take a look at the next table here. And it's pretty interesting. Well, not really. The average damage and the average time to kill were calculated across all distances, all armor types and all body parts. Also, the values in the brackets are from the secondary fire mode of the Bucky. When we look at the TTK values for all the different distances, we can see that on paper the Judge is just the better weapon. But you will see that this statement is pretty one-dimensional when we come to the one-shot kill ranges. But first, let's take a look at the average TTK values in regard of the armor, and also we can see here that the Judge exceeds. But as I said before, TTK is pretty worthless against guns that kill you in one shot, so let's have a look at the one-shot kill ranges for both weapons. And here we can see clearly that the Bucky is the better choice in close range situations against single opponents. And the next stats are just for shits and giggles. As you can see, the max damage per shot with the Bucky when all pellets hit, which is all pellets that I mentioned before. 220, 340 secondary, 136 Judge. The minimum damage for the Bucky is 3, for the Judge 6. And the average damage in percent of the price for the Bucky is around 6% and for the Judge around 3%. And to give you an idea, for the sidearms it was around 10%. Alright, let's talk about the damage values per distance. For all the shotguns, those are pretty high, of course, in low ranges and get shittier and shittier the farther away the enemy is. In this first graph you can see the damage that all shotguns deal to the head. And we can see that all weapons deal more than 100 damage in ranges from 0 to 12, and after that, or in higher ranges, they all decline rapidly and end up pretty low. I will just quickly show the damage to the body and the leg on screen now, so pause the video if you want to take a look in detail, otherwise let's jump to the time to kill. The time to kill can be calculated when you know the fire rate and you know how many shots you need to kill an enemy, and how many shots you need to kill an enemy depends on the armor, so we will have Breach here, show us the body parts, and the armor types are on the right hand side. Again, please feel free to pause the video and take a look in detail at the graphs, because otherwise this video would be as long as my
Johnny.
Knowing how many shots you need to kill an enemy is pretty valuable information, so we are gonna go through that now. For that purpose, the graphs will now show the individual weapons and the different armor types within that graph to indicate when actually armor matters and when it can increase the needed shots to kill an enemy. The values are on screen right now, so if you want to pause the video again, feel free to do so. And if the whole story with shots to kill gets you really wet, I created a shots to kill calculator, which I will link in the video description. I will also show the video where it's put to use in the top right corner right now. So yeah, thank me later. In conclusion, we can say that shotguns are pretty neat, highly situational of course, highly dependent on your play style, and highly dependent on how likey you are with shotguns. Either way, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please put that finger to use and go crazy on the like button. It really helps me out. Tell me about your feelings in the comments and consider subscribing to don't miss out on the other guides that are upcoming in the near future. Thanks for being part of the Web Crusade today. My name is DissKnight, and the world is yours to diss.